Welcome to another episode of Driving with Slip. I am on the way home from work. I had a late day today, but a lot is on my mind today because the Braves have got quite a bit of news. So let me just update the news for everybody out there that may not know. At the beginning of the week, we got an update about Drake Baldwin to where he's heading to Florida to do some of his work there and some of the instructional league stuff. Hopefully still building his strength and being able to test some things out. And if everything goes well in Florida, he'll go up to Gwinnett and play a couple of games in Gwinnett to make sure that, he's still doing okay, trying to get his swing back, making sure that his eye gets back along with continuing to test out his body, making sure that it is good to go. And then a plan is for him to join the team on Tuesday, I think. So a week from yesterday is his projected time to rejoin the team. Now, the big part about him rejoining the team is not just because of his bat, but because Ronald Acuna Jr. has gone down with the injury again. It seems like he re-pulled his hamstring. They say that it's not as bad as the last time. However, you've heard me talk about this before with my problems with my hamstrings in college while playing, and I know it's different, but hamstrings are one of those injuries that if you do not give it rest and don't let it heal, it will continue to nag you. You got to be able to build up that strength. You got to be able to give it rest, and sometimes that can be really difficult. Especially while you're in the middle of a season and you're trying to get right. So Acuna is going to be down for at least 10 days, being on the injured list. Carlos Carrasco was DFA'd, and it's unfortunate that we even had to use him yesterday because I think he is a big reason why having to use him is a big reason why the Braves were not able to win that game yesterday. It just seemed like a crash waiting to happen from the beginning. So DFA'd him. They have Karen Check that is being called up, which is great because a lot of people have been wanting to see how he will do on a major league roster. He hasn't pitched in a couple years because of injuries, but he is back. Had pretty decent numbers in Gwinnett. They say that he had a little bit of some unlucky batted ball, luck. So hoping that he's able to come up and be able to throw strikes and get people out. I mean, that's essentially what we need. We need people to be able to get out. So we don't expect them to be perfect, but we need him to be better than what Carlos Carrasco was. And I don't think we're going to be able to. I don't think we should ever see Carlos Carrasco again on the major league level. It seemed that he wasn't able to locate his pitches. It seemed like his breaking stuff was not breaking, and he got hit hard. And the Braves probably should have given up more runs than they did, but, Eli White was able to host somebody. But just consistent line drive after line drive after line drive. And that just can't be what's going on. We also selected Rowdy Tellez on the 40-man roster and called him up, which I'm like, what does this mean? Is he just another bat? Like, do they expect him to DH at some point? Because honestly, we gotta be honest about Dom Smith. He's not hitting as well as he once was, and we didn't expect him to continue to hit like he was. However, the fall off is much greater than what is really acceptable. After Yastrzemski went on a little bit of a heater, he is coming back to where his numbers previously were. Mateo's in a lineup today, but he hasn't been hitting as much as he was, and they still aren't giving Ha-Seong Kim his reps. Which I'm not blaming either. I'm just saying, like, this is the problem. The Braves have a collection of people that are not hitting. Riley's not hitting and actively taking bad at bats. Yastrzemski's not hitting right now. Dom Smith is not hitting right now. We have a catcher spot that's not hitting. That's 4 out of the 5 people in the lineup that's not hitting. We can't expect Albies. We can't expect Olsen and Michael Harris just to continue to carry the team. The way for them to have to carry the team is that they're going to have to play at such an exceptional level that's not realistic for anybody except Barry Bonds to continue. Even people playing at an MVP level, it's not going to be good enough if 4 out of the spots are not able to hit consistently. Thank goodness that Mauricio Dubon is a monster with runners in scoring position. I hope he's able to keep that up, and the thing is, he makes good at bats in those spots, so it's possible to keep that up, but also the numbers are a little bit, a couple standard deviations above the mean, if you know what I'm talking about. So, we got people that are hitting, and we have some people that are absolutely not hitting at all. And that's just not a way to carry a team, especially when they're going through these injuries, which is why we need Baldwin back in a big way. I'm hoping that Acuna can come back in a big way, because even with Acuna not hitting amazingly, he's still getting on base. He's still being able to swipe bags, even though he got thrown out a couple times in his past steals. But that it's his presence in a lineup is just absolutely huge, and we need it. And so, I'm not expecting some of these people to turn it all the way around, but goodness gracious, at least be a league average hitter. We cannot have people be not just below average, but bottom of the league with hitting. So, there's a lot of things that need to happen. And, I'm not trying to be a complainer. I know the Braves are still in a position where they have the best record in the major leagues. However, you got to be able to do things to keep that up. And if people aren't hitting, it's going to be tough to keep that up. Now, there's also these unrealistic people that are like, Walt Weiss isn't a good manager anymore. That man just went 8-2 over his past 10 with the Braves, and he loses one game when he's hamstrung, and people are like, Walt Weiss is a bad manager. Get real. They were 1 out away from a win. Let's be honest. All those bad things happened, and the plane crash was happening, and they were still 1 out away from a win. The ball that went out was only out in 2 out of 30 ballparks. Let's get real. We got to calm down when certain things like that happen. We got to get off the hot take machine. We got to make sure we stay level-headed when these things happen. That was a sucky loss. And there's no hiding how sucky that loss was. Like, it sucked. And the Braves are going to be okay. They're too good of a team to not be. Okay? But people need to be able to do their jobs. And at this point, we got too many people that aren't able to consistently do their job. And that's just where we're at. You know, I think these are parts of the ups and downs of a team. And it's just like, yeah, we would hope that these people aren't injured, and we hope that they can stay healthy, but also, you know, at some point everybody deals with injuries, and you just got to keep it moving. You know, people got to step up. You know, in football they always talk about next man up, and the thing is, Braves got to have just people step up and do what they're capable of doing. And people doing what they're capable of doing is not playing at an MVP level. That's not what we're expecting out of these people. We just want them to put good at-bats together and do what they can. And doing what they can is not being 2 for the past 20. Doing what they can is not being 2 for the last 24. That's just unacceptable. People have to be getting hits consistently. And people have to be able to put good at-bats together. Because that's not what's happening at this point. I mean, I think about that at-bat that Austin Riley had with less than 2 outs and a runner on third. He swings first pitch at a curveball that's well below the plate. How are you going to lift that ball? He hit it straight to the third baseman. You can't let that happen. People got to have better approaches. And I think it's mainly Austin Riley that's got to have better approach. Because it's just not working right now for what he's doing. I think he's going up there guessing too much. I think the swing models, you know, StatCast has a new swing model that's come out, and what I see from the kinds of swings that he's putting together is that he's just guessing. Way out in front of the off speed. He can sometimes connect on the fastball, but you know, it seems that like, yeah, he's just swinging under the ball. And we know Austin Riley can do so much better, and like every now and then we'll see a swing, it's like, oh, he can have an approach. Oh, he can swing the bat. And then he'll give us 3 at-bats that are like, yo, you can't put the ball in play. Yo, you can't be a little bit more selective with your pitch. Like, you have to be swinging first pitch curveball, knowing you're going to get a heater. I mean, it's just... At some point, I got to stop giving excuses to this guy and be like, yo, you just aren't doing your job. You aren't doing it well. I don't care how much work that you're putting in. You got to do better. You can be struggling, and I can still say you got to do better with what you got. Because I know if I'm struggling at bat, at least I'm going to try to do is put some damn good at bats together. I'm going to try to get a job done. I'm going to try to put myself in the best position to where I can do a job and get a job done. And Austin Riley ain't doing that. Striking out at the worst times. When it's like, yo, you can get it out. Just put the ball in play to the right side. Drive it to the outfield. My God. Braves got a rebound. You know, it is, you know, the Chicago White Sox team is a young team. They're a scrappy team. They're a fun team. But they're also an average team. And, you know, the Braves gotta come back and show them what they're capable of doing in this second game. Yes, they're down Acuna. Next man up. Let's go after it. You know, Braves need to get this win today. Make sure they don't slip.